Someone could just redo 2018. Right, and I'm not gonna take down the ones that I already put up. I'm just gonna put up these after, I guess, and just name it
Wait,
as
what do you
like
mean?
corrected. No, the
In
ones that
the
are there before. Oh no, I'm gonna send in papers, but the video is on YouTube. I'm just gonna put these, but label them as corrected or redone, since so many persons had issues with the papers that were posted before. All right. So number one, diaspora is best described as communities developed far away from their original homelands. We know that already. Alright, number two, which of the following outcomes did not result from adult suffrage in the Caribbean?
Sir,
Decolonization.
decolonization, right?
You sure?
Democratic reform.
Alright, decolonization. So did not. So it would be democratic reform, government approval, yeah, decolonization. That would be fine. Alright, three, to what section of the slave trade does the Middle Passage refer to? That would be the journey, right? From West Africa to the New World.
Yes, sir.
On the slavery, Caribbean society was characterized by. This is
B.
different.
Rigid separation of classes.
Alright, so remember to call the answer. Right. The enslavement of Africans in the Caribbean contributed to the erasure of their cultural practices because they
Were separated from their family and kinship group.
Alright. So
Please.
yes. So cultural remember this speaks to this speaks to enculturation. Right? Everybody gets why, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So there's a lack of enculturation. So the main aim of colonial education in the Caribbean was to control the masses.
A.
Masses.
Where does where what festival took place in
Hold on.
Toronto?
Can you go back to that question, please? Not move fast.
Sorry about that. But
I'm about to say that I move too fast, man.
What was question 5? Because that was a blur.
So it's not voluntary conversion; they were forced. Were not encouraged. This would not lead to cultural erasure, and this would not lead to cultural erasure. So that's that. I did say that if we did the question already, then we'll just move past it. How we discussed it before. That's fine. Can move on now.
Yeah, that's fine.
All right. Which of the following indigenous groups settled in the Central and in Central America in pre-Columbian times?
Maya.
If Maya wasn't there, and they had
Aztecs or Inca.
Can't put Inca. Alright, you could probably put Aztec, but they can't put Inca. Inca was in South America.
Oh, right.
Yeah. Just wanted to remind.
What are the Siboneyes again?
The Siboney is another type of another type of Taino, because they have different types of Taino. Siboneyes usually inhabited Cuba, right?
Sir, were the Siboneyes and the Tupis similar?
No, generally. Remember, Siboney is just a subset of the Taino, but the Taino and the Tupinamba were similar. So
Okay,
I guess you could say so. Because they were both category 2 civilizations. Number 9, which of the following terms best describes the near extermination of the indigenous population caused by? Okay.
Aside.
Because some of these questions are so long, but you know the answer already. So, which of the following Caribbean countries would this most likely depict?
Guyana,
British Columbia. Alright, so British Columbia right there. 11, which of the following approaches was used by Caribbean people to challenge European domination during the 16th century?
Micro-level resistance.
Alright, so I think it's still the 1500s, right?
Yes, sir.
Therefore, incoming that would not have passed yet.
Your question.
Go ahead.
Back on the same question.
Alright, go ahead.
So even though it's a 16 and you have 15 at the same answer, I will give micro-level?
It should be. Because
when that burning down plantations since 16th, when them say 16th century is
the 1500s.
Oh yeah, 1500s. In the 15 was one to all of and 15th century would that be like 14 or something?
Yes, 1400s.
That
Mm-hmm.
1492 Columbus comes. 1494.
1490. Well, encomienda system would have been inputted yet, but yeah.
And Columbus came to the Caribbean, into Jamaica specifically, in 1510, I think. So,
I would
Alright.
answer that, but I'm like, Jamaica, like, why is that important? Right, I
sir,
don't know.
because he would answer the whole 1500s thing.
But encomienda system wasn't it first put in Hispaniola?
Yes, sir.
Okay, and that would have been instituted in the early 1500s. So you are still right. I don't know. I try to always destroy the view that the Caribbean refers to like Jamaica, Barbados, Guyana, and Trinidad, which it does not. Right? Because I know when hear nobody talk about Saint Martin, like why nobody don't want to talk about that. But okay. 12.
Salt Pool, Salt Martin.
Saint Martin. I call it Saint, but like Saint Martin with the two A's. There's one with two A's and one with one A.
We
But
barely know these people.
So we remember the country them that trouble us. We don't need to.
Alright, 12. Which of the following beliefs best shows the link between a cultural norm and a cultural value?
Cooking extra food for unexpected guests signifies hospitality.
Right.
Alright, so we have that there.
So is that norm?
A norm, right? So a norm is something that you, well, normally do. Alright, so it's something that is common within general culture. And we're looking at where norm meets value, right? So cultural value. So what do we value, right? So Caribbean citizens are usually known for valuing hospitality, right, and friendship to some extent, right?
It's about caring for
So
the old signifies that good.
a person's wealth,
Oh
no,
no, absolutely not.
right? So we have that. Mr. Polygon, right, has been advised by the agricultural agency that he needs to minimize soil erosion on his hillside farm. To which of the following conservation methods is best for him to use?
Terracing.
Terracing, wonderful. Which of the following practices did indigenous people contribute to Caribbean culinary traditions?
Sir, castle reap and maize. So 1 and 2.
1 and 2.
Hold on. So, can somebody explain what is kasari? Because I'm just hearing this for the first time.
Really?
Okay,
Yup.
what is casserie?
So
Right.
I make from cassava. That's all we know.
Right. I learned
I
it
would know
in
say
Caribbean. So
Thai
that's
is
how
a
I
video.
know.
Oh, cassava na lemon is a Guyana for the real. Let me say no like that. But I will have to know say they make from cassava and indigenous people go with cassava.
It looks like so. It looks like
Isn't it
browning.
Bami?
Well, isn't it bami? Is it bami? I don't think so.
No, cassava rip is a black looking thing and like browning.
It's a black liquid.
It
It's
look
a
like
spice.
browning,
It's like a spice that they would use.
but them using a pepper pot soup.
Yeah, that's why the Guyanese pepper pot soup usually looks like black, right? It's usually a dark
Dirty pot.
complexion because
Dirty pot soup.
no, that's culturally insensitive, and we shall move forward. Alright,
At the black.
it is pepper pot. Alright, now let's move onwards.
Sorry,
Julia migrated to the United States where she works and sends money to her mother who takes care of her children. This money is known as
Remittance.
remittance, right? Unless the mother takes the money for herself and starves her children, in which she will be in a lawsuit in a couple months. But yeah. 16, which are the following types of development seeks to protect resources for future generations?
Sustainable.
Alright. Gender inequality is a factor that hinders development. Okay, we saw this already. What's the answer? I can't
Right.
bother read.
1 and 3.
1 and 3.
Yeah, I can't bother read all of them over and over and again. It's kind of gets draining. Which of the following organizations aim to regulate trade among countries?
WTO.
WTO.
All right. So we saw this as well. The indigenous perspectives. We're saying that it rejects the notion held by Europeans that
Yes, sir.
the indigenous people were docile and backward. All right. The mass media in the Caribbean is seen as promoting cultural imperialism because of
1 and 2.
1 and 2.
one
B.
and two. B. In its manifesto, a political party promised to pursue a harmonious relationship among all classes in society and guarantee equal opportunities for all citizens. So, what is the tendency?
Citizens Charter, sir.
So, isn't it
Is it
social
social
justice?
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 Isn't it social
Oh,
justice?
sorry.
Say,
This lady went straight into the constitution, dig up the Charter of Rights. But it's social. It's a part of social justice, and the Charter of Rights is under
Right,
it.
sir.
So you're not wrong. Wrong. It's just the encompassing term we're looking for. Which of the following practices is considered an element of good governance?
Rule of
Rule
law.
of law.
So we were Jamaica just pick cronyism. 23. One challenge faced by Caribbean societies in achieving integration is the
Insularity of
Minority of
citizens.
citizens.
right insular. Oh, it took me a while to find that. Arthur Lewis's theory, industrialization by invitation, was based on
Why
somebody
not
raised their
Daisy,
hand.
dog?
For direct
Direct
foreign investment.
investment.
Yeah.
Okay,
So can
direct.
you go back to question number 23, please?
All right. So, one challenge facing insular citizens. Wait,
So, why couldn't
insularity.
it be difference in levels of development?
Exactly.
Wait, is it shouldn't be the insularity of the politicians? Was that the issue, or is it insularity of citizens per se?
Sir, even in Jamaica, sir, it must a lot of persons in here have a preconception of of Trinidadians are in here of Trinidadians that they don't like us, so we don't like them. So it does not necessarily have to be the politicians.
Okay, go ahead.
I could never understand
Wasn't
why
like
Trinidad.
stuff with
Wait, hold on. No, it's in Casey. Let me just allow it to speak first.
Alright, go ahead, Clean.
Okay. Well,
Sir, and also, sir,
no.
oh, sorry, you're speaking?
I think it's
All
the
right.
lag.
No, continue.
Sir, I was saying for the integration purposes, sir, if for example, again, a person in Jamaica, because they have that preconceived view of another person, they are not going to want to move between those countries. So insularity in itself comes with the development thing, because if my country is better than yours according to me, I'm not going to want to go to your country regardless. So I think it's insularity because it includes the whole ideology of me
But
being better than you.
doesn't D causes insularity, the difference in development that
Yeah,
led to
I
Sorry,
agree
insularity?
with that.
I'm just
Country-
saying that if I view myself as better than you, regardless, I'm not going to want to integrate with you. So
And
so
that's one of the
difference
reasons why West Indies Federation failed itself. Because Jamaica and Trinidad were saying that, oh, Barbados was sponging on us because we had a larger economy than them. And they expect that, oh, because we larger than them, we must put up more contribution to it. So eventually, difference in levels of development would lead to the insularity of citizens and politicians. So the answer would basically be A.
Okay, Ashley Mars, go ahead.
Okay,
how is D
the reason why
Okay, go ahead.
the reason why I'm going with D is because okay, the person that spoke before me about it, he's correct, but he's was a bit inaccurate. So I'm just correcting that. The reason why the difference in level of development would affect integration is because, for example, you have like a quota between the countries. Smaller countries might not be able to meet that quota, right? So they're not able to contribute as much as the like the first world countries, yet they're not able to contribute as much. So because of the difference in contribution, there was no like proper agreement to say, okay, that you can contribute this and I contribute that. Yeah.
Okay. So what are we arguing here?
But sir, another point, sir. Sir, the whole West Indies Federation, right? Sir, the whole CARICOM, everything, but more specifically West Indies Federation, sir. Wasn't the whole purpose of it for countries, irrespective of the levels of development, to reach one standard?
Yes,
And the
it
whole
was.
reason why it failed was because other countries, when the federation was formed, view themselves as superior to others, like for example Jamaica to everybody else.
Why did they view themselves superior?
Sorry, because at the time where Alexander Bustamante was the prime minister of Jamaica, I think he made a quote saying that Jamaica running and the others creeping. Like he listed out some other Caribbean countries because at the time our mining industry was booming. So he was saying
So
that
because of differences in the level of development.
sir, but sir, I still believe that it is insularity because of the whole imperialism ideology.
Okay. So you're saying that differences in level of development causes insularity, which is the major issue.
Right, sir.
Okay. So we're saying that federation or integration on a whole would have been one of the solutions to the varying developmental issues within the Caribbean. But because of these developmental issues, there's insularity among different Caribbean countries, which hinders achieving integration. Is that what we're saying? So is it that the answer is A?
Right, sir. Sir, because even with
That was a question,
the
but okay.
OECS, sir. Sir, even with the OECS, if we look at the OECS, not all of those countries in the OECS are at the same level in terms of development, but they are still together, right? Because they're trying to achieve a common goal.
All right. So you're arguing with A. For the persons who said D, because I think it was Emil, I think, right, who agreed that the difference in levels of development would have contributed to insularity, right? But what is the answer? Is it D we're looking for? Is it A? Go ahead, Casey.
Yeah, so this might seem like it's showing off the whole topic, but why do Trini people don't like Jamaicans? I don't understand.
Well, I'm not sure about that, and I can't answer because I am a Jamaican and I am biased, right? And plus, I don't know anything about it, right? So,
Leader, somebody speak, please.
well, I mean, we could have a discussion of it like after the paper. If you hold it, then we can have a discussion about it. That would be lovely. Alright, but we wanna get through this first. So
yeah, I get you the paper.
okay, so alright, so what's happening here? So are we saying the persons who said D, put the answer in the chat, please. The person who said A, please do that. So let's see what we're going on with. Because I think that we all agree that D contributes to A. A is the end product and D is the root from which A comes from. What is the answer we're going for? The end product or the root of the situation? The root.
Not the comments spelling out Dada.
I don't know. But alright, so I don't think there's enough consensus to agree whether or not it's A or D, right? But D contributes to A. So the ones that you feel comfortable with, I think you should choose. But what we always look at, right, as a major challenge towards integration has always been insularity throughout every past paper till now, right? But based on this, we can look at the differences in development, which is a major problem, right, that causes the end of the West Indies Federation, right? And I think we could state that the West Indies Federation, right, caused a struggle on the other. I think all of them are more on the more developed countries. The West Indies Federation basically put strain on the more developed countries, right? And this caused insularity between the nations, saying that even though we have one Caribbean identity, right, we must look out for the interests of our people and the best interests of our people. We can't have, let's say that we are members of a more developed country. We can't have our country being taken advantage of and a lot of persons entering our country, right, to take the jobs and stuff like that and all the opportunities from our citizens. We're saying that that is not fair for developed countries, right? And then from the standpoint of a least or lesser developing country, right, they could state that, you know, it is unfair for them to be meeting one general quota because it's not that only their industries aren't large, it's that they're literally the area of their islands aren't large enough, right, to build such a vast industry to compete with the larger colonies, right? So that could be an issue, and that causes a dichotomy or a rift between the citizens of the Caribbean, and that insularity did not allow for full political commitment to the federation, so it dissolved, right? With Jamaica exiting, right? 1 from 10 leaves not, right? If we remember that. So I understand everything happening here, but it's whether or not we want to choose development as the major challenge or insularity as the major challenge. So I can't really answer that because I understand two standpoints. It's kind of conflicting. So I'm going to allow you guys to choose which one you believe is the best answer, and I hope that's fine and that you guys don't attack me for doing that. Right? So we have those. Permission to continue?
Sure, sir.
Yes,
All right. Dependency ratio, though, we saw that they would be the best answer here. So it would be the proportion of working persons above and under, well, to the populations of persons that are above or under the working age, right, or employment age. Which of the following factor is considered a challenge to the development in the Caribbean? All right, we're seeing that would be cultural imperialism. All right.
Wait, why not?
Okay. All right. So it was contentious. This has repeated, and we're saying that we chose cultural imperialism, but you're saying that regional integration could be a major issue, right?
D as in dog. Why not D as in dog?
Or D, lack of confidence in
Recent papers took out that option. Hey, but
yeah, recent papers took out the option from.
Why not D in the older people?
So lack of confidence in local products. That would affect what type of development?
General economic development in a whole, like.
And that's due to competition. That's due to globalization. Because foreign products compete at such a higher rate, right? We favor foreign products more so than our local products, and that will affect the output, which is the GDP of the country, or GNP of the country, I guess. I get what you're saying here. Why D won't be the answer? What do you guys think for this one? Would there remain cultural imperialism? Because remember, when we look at development, right? When we look at development, boy, I'm treating this like a science now, you know. But when we look at development per se, right? We look at economic development, right? Then we look at environmental development. Well, sorry, economic development, then human development, then environmental development, then sustainable development, right? If we remember, like the flow chart, basically, right? So look at that, then human development, then the environmental development, then sustainable development, right? So is it that D would be the better answer because it hits on economic before reach human development?
Yeah, I'm kind of thinking of that. To me, this seems like more of a better choice here, but without it, you'll put cultural imperialism.
I get that. Go ahead. Somebody's raise your hand. I think. Let me check. Nobody raised their hand. All right, no. But all right. So what do you think is the best answer here? I need an answer, guys. Could answered D already.
You gotta check the chat. I think some people put answer there.
Oh, I'm seeing D as the answer. All right. Okay, so D would be the better answer here. All right. So working with that. Let's see what's happening here. A major multinational oil corporation.
Sir, hold on. Somebody raised their hand.
Oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
So is it that everybody is going with D? Because as said in the chat, D is a part of A, because cultural imperialism, you're focusing on the power of foreign culture and foreign imports, all of that. So is everybody saying D? Because I think that A could be a general thing, and D, lack of confidence in local products, is included in A.
I agree.
So
I
what
think you can
can't
link back to A.
Okay. Okay, I remember. I understand that. Lack of confidence in local products. So you're saying that once transculturation happens and a dominant culture invades the Caribbean space, due to our assimilation of that culture, it allows us to prefer those goods over ours. So you think that cultural imperialism will cause us to lack confidence in our own products as we start to purchase the other products?
Precisely.
Could be taken in that.
It could be taken in that context, yes, sir.
Alright, that context makes sense. You see, what I don't like is when multiple contexts make sense now. Because that just creates a huge issue.
Because in order for you to lack confidence, you need to see something else being better, I guess. For the cultural imperialism, you see the foreign goods and services being better.
Yeah, and cultural imperialism also can stem from commercialization of culture, right? Because when you have commercialization of culture, for example, right, on our I'm not sure if anybody still watches TV, but you still have commercials, right, which is a part of commercialization of culture that emphasizes all of these multinational corporations. So people stop acting like going to like Cafe Blue and stuff like that and start going to that dog water, which is Starbucks, but okay. And those type of stuff. And people start preferring different things that are sourced outside. Right? People see the huge hormone injected chicken and stuff like that and start getting like imported products more so than the locally grown products, I guess so. Go ahead, Kessler.
So I asked ChatGPT the question, yeah?
Watch out.
And ChatGPT said A, lack of confidence in local products. Now ChatGPT go into a whole explanation, so y'all want to hear what
That's D,
ChatGPT
not A, but
Alright, so it says this challenge refers to the difficulty faced by Caribbean countries in gaining trust and support for their own local produced goods and services. This lack of confidence can hinder economic growth and development, as it may lead to a preference for imported products over local ones, resulting in a drain of resources from the region. Also, it says cultural imperialism, on the other hand, refers to the dominance and influence of a foreign culture over a local culture, which can also pose challenges to development but is not listed as one of the options. Regional integration, which involves cooperation and coordination among Caribbean countries,
not the we win.
to foster economic growth and development, can be seen as a potential solution rather than a challenge to development. Improved improved educational standards generally contribute positively to development by enhancing human capital and skills. So it may not be considered a challenge in the context of this question.
Wait,
Right.
did you just ruin D as an answer a while ago? You just said may not.
But say it may not be considered a challenge in the context of this question.
So it really just did the one of that just to say no.
That's the rub. As a matter of fact, it gave the answer in the beginning. It said a lack of it said lack of confidence in local products.
But that's not A. That's
no, sorry. Anyway, it's lack of confidence. Yeah. D, sorry. D.
Okay.
Lack of confidence.
Go ahead, Miss Ellis. You raised your hand like a bunch of times. Go ahead.
All right. Yeah. So from that reading,
the scripture.
I'm still gonna say A because there can only be a lack of confidence in local products if there is a dominant aspect that's challenging local products. Without cultural imperialism, how can we have insecurity in the products that we are providing?
Okay. So you're saying that if no other product is there, you get lack of confidence in your product.
Exactly.
Okay.
So
D does not win. I don't know what you're talking about.
So hold on, you touch on that. So here's what ChatGPT clap back and say.
I want to hear what you say. I don't want to hear anything from ChatGPT.
Me say D, but here what me said D too. So here what he said. He said cultural imperialism, on the other hand, refers to the dominance and influence of a foreign culture over a local culture, right?
You're saying,
yes, so that's a difference. So it says which can also pose challenges to development, but is not listed as one of the options. Okay.
Wait, hold on. What did you do? But did you input all of the options?
That.
Okay.
Scott, what you said?
Did you input all of the options into it? Cause just
everything, question, everything.
everything.
Mr. Sir?
Yeah?
I think it's time we need to move on. The sun has set.
Oh, sorry about that. Good evening, everyone.
Yeah, good evening.
Okay, a major multinational oil, well, we saw this already. What is the answer here? What should the government be most concerned with?
You said A.
Yeah.
Yes, sir, it's A.
Which of the following outcomes results from globalization?
Sir?
Go ahead.
Okay. I was not here for number 27. Can you go back up to it, please?
Okay, number 27. So, we're looking at the oil drilling company, right, within the country, right? And I think that the major answer would have probably been for reserve oil for future generations, right? Because it's probably like taking into consideration that most persons would look at the sustainability and just choose the one that says future generations. But I don't think that would be the best thing here. Right, nationalities of senior management hired, that's not really that important. Tension created between local and nope, right? But the answer would be between A and B, right? But the balance between the oil drilled and that reserve for future generations, I don't think that would be the best answer here. But looking at the impact it has on fisheries, right, would take into consideration employment, GDP, and all sorts of factors that may affect the development of the country, right? And the sustainability, right, of food sources for future generations. So I think that A would be the best answer.
Yes, sir. Moving on.
Not moving on. Alright, 20, what is this, 9? Which of the following activities is an example of mass media acting as an agent of socialization? Let me just put the asterisk right here, and let me just, A.
A. Sir, you had A for this?
Oh, yeah.
Yes, I had A.
Okay.
Oh, but question.
What you know?
How is that? What does have with socialization?
What
when you eat them out,
wait, hold on. That is not. That is not the purpose of it, right? But what is socialization, though? What is it? That's what we want.
No, I hear the answer. Moving on.
If you can't tell us what socialization is.
Socializing, communicating, a part of communicating.
socialization allows the transfer, right? Well, allows the enculturation of persons. You know what enculturation is?
I don't quite.
No.
Can you educate me?
All right, so enculturation speaks the transfer of norms or cultural ideals from for persons within the same group, right? So it usually influences. It's usually a good example is like children learning right from the adults, right? Different cultural traditions, basically. So socialization is kind of like that, in which the family, the school, religion, and all of these different social institutions will impart values and norms onto the people, right? So I would think that A here was the one of the only ones that are actually inputting some amount of norms or values, right? Other than everything else. Running an advertisement, right? On an upcoming cultural
But I mean,
event.
cultural event can go with culture as well. Talk about whatever. Putting out the norm of the different
Oh,
culture.
the answers for this
Yeah, nah.
changed. The answers for this changed.
Nothing about
But
it.
the advertisement specific for the cultural event would not really impart socialization in a sense. Attending the cultural event would, right? But the advertisement specifically not really. Airing sponsored programs that has nothing to do with it, and airing radio talk shows discussion. No, that
No, I
wouldn't
didn't
be
have to
it.
do the hearing then.
Sir, none of these include interacting with anybody.
Yeah, it's just like advertising. It's just like the mass media generally, right? But the mass media influencing the persons through mass media itself would have been showing the documentary on healthy eating habits, which would influence the norms of individuals.
Yes, the answer is A. Next question.
So I think the answer is A. Okay, just rushing this thing. Let me take 15 minutes for every question. Social justice is mainly concerned with.
Good question. With the 2022 yet?
A long time.
What?
Sir, C.
A long time. Equity among members. I'll send the paper. Which of the following objectives would not be a purpose of?
After something.
I recorded
Sir, I
it.
didn't see question 30.
Question 30.
Sir, hold on. Sir, just scroll up. Sir, don't skip the question so quick yet.
Oh,
I can
sorry
still
about
see
that.
the previous question answer.
Right. Which of the following objectives would not be a purpose of conducting research was said together to support your researcher's agenda?
Sir, to gather data to support the researcher's agenda.
Alright, so that would not be it. The research process is systematic because what does systematic imply?
Sir, it's structured so that it can be replicated.
Wonderful. Alright, moving on again. 33. Which of the following activities is involved in identifying the research problem?
Sir, hypothesizing.
Yes, sir.
Okay, hypothesizing. So we're saying like, oh, this is the issue, right? Are you sure that would be though? Hypothesizing.
Sir, I'm
yes.
The person who say yes, why? Why you think that
Because
your
why
answer
not,
is
sir?
right?
That is my reason.
Because why not? Can't be an answer. Can anybody tell me why hypothesizing is other than because it is? No?
No, sir. We just went with what you said because we
They're
were
not
sure
asking us why on the paper, so I'm just choosing the best one in my opinion and moving on.
So hypothesizing. So the formation of hypothesis will help identify the research problem. Okay. It is true to say that the research objective is the same as the
reason for the problem being researched.
You sure that objective is the same thing as a purpose?
No, I am not sure, sir.
Summary of what the research is expected to achieve.
Right.
Okay, so
update.
Yeah, that makes more sense.
Alright. So moving on. Hopefully it doesn't go anywhere. 35 now. Participant observation is viewed as a subjective method of data collection because?
Sir, C. The wrong conclusions are drawn by the researcher.
Alright, which of the following procedures is not a probability method of sampling?
Purposive.
Purposive. Alright, that makes sense. Because
yes, sir.
And the questions before purposive is grouped under non-probability, so it makes sense. Dr. Goodwin, what happened with this question? What was the answer here?
Or A.
Yes, it was ethics.
Sir, I haven't even read the question as yet.
Oh, sorry. Let me check if anybody's in this thing. So, Dr. Goodwin. So we're looking at the impact that the data collection is likely to have on the respondent. So she's taking an ethical standpoint there, looking at how it will affect the respondent. Makes sense.
Okay.
All right. Which of the following outcomes is not an advantage using a questionnaire as a data collection instrument?
D.
D.
Okay. Data is easily sure. Not an advantage. Question: data is easily analyzed as responses are usually short answers. You sure?
No, sir. B. Sir, not
D as
all
in dog.
questions. Dog, sir? You said D is the answer?
No, I'm at. What are you saying? B as in boy?
Sir, data are easily analyzed as responses are usually short answers, not an advantage. B.
That's what I'm saying.
But
not an
isn't it
advantage?
D?
No,
You
sir.
can get additional
It's
information. If you give them the answers, or if you put, I guess, because questionnaires are normal, like
short answers.
You put the answers on there and they answer. So what additional information can you gain really?
Sir, but you can
As
argue. You can argue with the. You can argue that with open-ended questions, it allows for personal opinion to be given.
Mm-hmm. But
So,
that wouldn't. Okay. I understand that standpoint of view is open-ended questions, but is it generally the advantage of a question? Questionnaire is it qualitative or quantitative method of research?
Quantitative, sir.
So just work with that.
I think they're being too specific. We're not think too deep.
Yeah,
exactly.
It's quantitative. Therefore, what is not an advantage for quantitative would be D. Right? Because we'll understand. Because using open-ended questions would make it more qualitative, right? Give it a more qualitative identity. But we're just looking at it generally, using a questionnaire generally, as a method of data collection. We're just looking at it as that. Why is it important to clarify a research problem in the initial stage of the research process?
Sir, B. To provide the basis for conducting an empirical investigation.
Okay, some persons would say D, so let me just put that asterisk there. 40, which of the following statements satisfies the criteria for our hypothesis? What was the answer? D?
Third.
C.
A D. Wasn't it D?
Dog.
It was
Thought
D.
it was D.
Is D.
Alright. So let me just slow down for a bit for anybody to catch up. Let me just flip this $20. Alright, so moving on now. 41. In collecting data for her research, Michelle organized a discussion for selected students from her school to get their opinions. What data collection method or collecting method is she using?
Sir, a focus group.
Focus group. Researchers interested in the consistency of their research results are concerned with
Dog.
reliability. Wonderful.
Yes, sir.
You guys feel prepared for the exam? It's because I was asleep and I didn't start today. Which of the following factors is of least importance when refining a research problem?
Sir, wasn't it sample size?
Yes, it was. That's what we put before. John was asked to research the reasons person chose the police force as a career. He chose to use the stratified sampling method. What is the main disadvantage of using this method for this research? Stratified sampling.
Yes, sir. B.
B, a complete list of interested persons is difficult to obtain. Sure.
Because I believe for stratified, what you need to do is like have a
Wait,
complete
yeah,
list of,
D. D, sorry,
D.
sorry. D.
and then
Sorry. But you know that was speaking, sorry. Can go ahead.
yeah. So what I'm saying is B, right? Probably B because for the stratified, right? You'd have to have like a list of everybody, and then you have to know like the traits of them or something to like group them into different groups.
Into different strata.
Yeah, into different like subgroups or stratas, and then you see like individuals randomly from each of those stratas. The first, like, you need to get like, an entire list to know who and who you're grouping, in a sense.
Alright.
So that's why it's between B and D, but I guess B is one thing advantage.
Socialist advantage to disadvantage. The complete list of interested persons is difficult to obtain. Persons who chose that as a career. Okay. Wait, hold on. Persons who chose a police course as a career? No, police choose police force as a career. How is it? Wait, hold on. I'm probably overthinking it, but I would say what my brain basically did was that since only police members would have chosen the police force as a career, then you just target the police force. Therefore, the list of interested persons may not be as difficult to obtain if they're police members. But I guess this would be before they become police members. So it's gonna be hard to probably get persons who are interested in that. That makes sense. But for D, it says members of the population do not have an independent chance of selection. What does that speak to? He's saying that it doesn't have an independent chance?
The independent mean?
That's exactly what I want to find out.
I'm guessing they mean probably like, let's see, like each of them having an equal probability of being selected.
So we need to know whether or not in stratified sampling, if the members of the population have an independent chance, and then we can knock out D for sure. So is it true? Go ahead, Casey.
Want me to ask ChatGPT?
I would love it if you asked Jennifer, but you yourself would be, most lovely to have. Not chat, but you. But what you guys go with, D or B? We have to understand this though.
I mean, at the end of the day, you still have to use back a random sampling, like some sort of random sampling in each strata. So I'm kind of saying.
Alright, so stratified sampling. But it does have independent chance, doesn't it? It does. So I think that B would be the best answer. Because if you remember the information from the textbook, doesn't it? Because when you look at a subgroup of the population within probably the stratum, right? It uses independent random sampling. Also,
Wait, that's what I remember. Like you after you divide them, you still use back random sampling within each strata.
So I think it would be a random chance of selection, same way. It's just that you're in strata. So I think that makes sense. Ravi now thinks that the results from his research could be affected by the size of the sample. Where does he put this information? What's in the limitations?
Sir A, limitations.
Alright, so I think for 44, stratified sampling still is independent. Go ahead.
Don't move it. Let me just read it. Don't move it.
What, number 45?
Yeah.
Oh boy. At Acknowledging that people of the same ethnic group face similar problems is the main fact.
Okay, you can go ahead. Thank you.
Okay, hold on. Systematic inquiry may be referred to as. Alright. So who's going to help me study organic chemistry tonight?